over how to make sure that you guys know how to set up properly your file structure for your Maya project. So this is just a sample folder that I created here, and in my scenes folder I've got my Maya ASCII file set up, and then also I've set up an incremental save for this project. So as I make adjustments to it, it's going to also and save those files. It saves earlier versions as well of the Maya ASCII file. So let's get into setting up your projects inside of Maya. I've got a brand new scene. It's untitled, right? So I just went up to File, New Scene. I'm not going to save that last one. This is what I've got here. Then what I'm going to want to do is go to File and go to Set Project. I'm not going to model, I'm not going to do anything else. This is the first thing I want to do. Now in this window, what I have done is my computer is set up to want to save my folders here to my Maya project folder. So what I'm going to actually do is let's go back up one. There we go. Do you see how, because that was already into this folder. Now I'm going to want in this folder create a new folder right here. And what I'm going to do is call this one Brenda 2. Okay. And I'm just going to click on Set. Now I'm going to create this default workspace because it doesn't have a file, that workspace file. And that workspace file is like if you have any windows or menus or you're working with specific layouts that are different, it will save that workspace layout for you. So I'm going to create that default workspace. When I go into the Finder window, now this is what I have so far, right? So we need this full file structure set up in this number 2 folder. So what we're going to do is go back into File, and we're going to go to Project Window. And do you see how it's set to that new folder that I just created? That's perfect. And now what I'm going to do is just click on Accept, okay? And what it's going to do is just create inside of that new folder everything, all the proper file or folder structure, excuse me, that I want you guys to have for your Maya projects. Now, what I need to also do is at this point I can start doing some modeling. Let's say I want to, let's change this, scale it up. Then I want to save it. So I'm going to go to File, and then where I have the Save Scene here, what I'm actually going to do is click on the options for saving my scene. And then what I want to make sure of is that incremental save is checked. Okay, so when I do that and I click on Save Scene, right, it's going to know to, hey, save it into the Scenes folder of that project folder we just created. And now we want to make sure we name this file correctly too. So I'm just going to call it that. I'm going to make sure it's also a Maya ASCII file too. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is click on Save As. Okay, right there. And then click on Continue. Now, if I, let's say, make some more changes, and I'm going to hit Control S to save it, or just go to File, Save Scene. I don't need to incrementally save anymore after I've done it once on this computer. It remembers it. But what I'm going to want to do here is I want to look in my Scenes folder. And yes, here's my latest scene file, my Maya ASCII file, but then I also have, well, that's an earlier version of it. Now if I start making other changes right here and I hit save it, it's going to then bring up those other versions as well. Okay, it's going to save all of those. So each time you go to File and Save Scene, it's going to save an incremental version of that. Okay, so that's really helpful as you're progressing and you're working on your files. But I want to make sure too, just keep in mind that when you're working with Maya, and if you have to, let's say I want to open up another scene. I'm going to go back to this earlier one, right? Let's say I'm using somebody else's project, or this is a scene that I had created earlier on maybe on a different computer, right? And this is what I do with your homework. If I open up the Maya scene, right, and I can see here's an earlier version of the file, I always want to go back, and before I do anything to this file, maybe the materials are missing or something like that, I always want to go to File and click on Set Project and make sure I set it to that folder, right, that I found the Maya ASCII file in. So I'm going to set it to that one and then click on Set. Now, if I had any materials and if I wanted to, right, make sure I had it shaded, right, then it would show it, but right now I don't have a material. But that helps to create the link that you would have inside of Maya, and if you were trying to get into the actual material that you might have with it. So just watch out for that. Make sure that you always, before you start doing anything to somebody else's file or an earlier version of your file, you always go to File and Set the Project. Okay? Now, if you are creating a new scene, and I'm going to do that now, so I'll just save that, what I have. What you can also do to save time is go to File and then go to Project Window. Now, here what I can do is actually create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one Brenda _ Brenda 3, and then I can just click on Accept, right? I can add in something, scale it, right? I'm going to do the same thing, go to File, Save Scene. I want to make sure that that incremental save is set. Click on Save Scene. And I want to just double check always it's set to that number 3 folder. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is click on Save As. Okay. So that was a little bit faster. If I knew I needed to create a new project window, I didn't need to reset it from an earlier one, you can always just go to File, Project Window, and then create a new folder right from here. Now, of course, if you need to change the location of it, then what you can do is also, so you can just call it something else. I'm going to create a new one for you guys again, right here. If you need to change it, you can just click on that folder and then go into, this is a little bit harder. You would want to go up and then you could go to another folder that you might have. But you want to be consistent. Right now I've got my documents, and in the Maya folder, I'm saving these in this example, but for our in-class files, I'm going to set up a separate folder that has just all of our in-class files in there. But I'm going to click on Accept Now, and if I go back in this window, now you can see there was my first one, my second one got set up properly too, and then here's the third one. Let's check the Scenes folder. Yes, it's got it. Oh, it doesn't look like I did in any kind of incremental scenes with that one, so I just want to double check that it's got it. Now with this one, what I need to do is, oops, I think I moved it too far. Let's squash it down, do another save, and let's see if it's got. This one should have the incremental scenes. Uh-oh, it doesn't. Uh-oh, uh-oh. So I'm going to want to make sure, oh wait, I'm in 3. Ha ha ha. Never mind. See, you got to make sure you're saving. Yeah, that one was in my other scenes. I just created the folder, but I didn't go there. So here it is. Now it's got it. All right, perfect. So there we go. Just watch out for that. Just make sure if you are getting an earlier version of somebody else's file or your file, what you always want to do, if I'm opening up this one, just go to File, Set Project, and then make sure that you're going to the correct. So this one's going into 2, and I set that Maya project to that folder, okay? So just want to make sure you've got that, all right? That's it for setting your Maya projects, proper Maya project folder structure there, all right? Let me know if you guys have any questions on that. All right.